welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at Warfighter. And this is World War II tactical combat card game. And this is the second edition of that game. It's put out by Dan Versen Games. I think it was originally put out in 2016. This is just the updated version of it. So I wanted to take a look at it. This is the first version of this particular one that I've played. We've played a lot of the World War II Pacific, so it's nice to get to the European theatre, kind of play around and see what we've got in this. So this is a solitaire game, but you can play it cooperatively up to 6 players, no big deal. But I think with 2 or 3, you've got a good game. The more you play with, the less options you have to play around with. But it's a neat game. It's tactical. You play to a man and little squads. What we'll do is we'll just crack this open, kind of see what we get in this new edition. So, alright, got a lot of glare today. So, this is a small, kind of a 2-inch box. We have here the rules, and this is one of the first things that you'll notice. This is August 2018 is when this new edition was printed, and you'll see up here, dun, 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 and this is a preview for the future. World War II, this is what we're unboxing today. Modern, which the original game was the modern one. We have here fantasy for the future and near future. So you've got like a near future sci-fi game that's going to eventually come out and a fantasy game that's going to eventually come out. They're really expanding what they're doing with this on top of the 2 World War II ones and the modern game as well. So a lot to look forward to in this. This is a glossy, 53-page rulebook. And whilst it is a big rulebook, it's actually very easy to digest. The text is large, a lot of pictures, examples, and diagrams, and there's a lot of kind of generic examples in these. So like this is from the modern game, this is from the modern game as well, that just give you examples of all of the games in this as well. This is the universal rulebook. So you should be able to use this with every single Warfighter game that there is. But then it gets into kind of the specific ones here. So you got your mission cards, player soldiers, squad soldiers, non-player soldiers. This is all about building your squad. You buy your team and then you go out on a mission. Is effectively what you do. Literally give them weapons and skills, give them ammunition, you track all of that stuff. And then you go out onto missions, and this is explaining how you do all of that. But really, a lot of what this is, and there's like campaigns that you link together. Okay, it has all of the expansion stuff in here too, which is nice. All right, campaigns. There's campaigns included. You will play through the campaigns, doing linked missions with the same team. And then you have a score at the end. Really good for solo narrative storytelling stuff. But all of these rules back here are expansions that are out. Medals, vehicles, zombies, shore invasions, doing land invasions. We've done one of those. Very fun, very different. Fortifications, on blown up entrenched positions, airdrop paratroop missions. Just a lot of variety in this game. All of it's in the rules now. So that's nice. So that's your new rule book. We have a new player board. I think the very original modern Warfighter game from years and years ago had like a cardboard paper mat. This is a fully mounted mat. Basically it's just a bunch of regions with some good little sequence of play and play bits and pieces, but I'll kind of fold this up and show you this side of it. Get a cool background to it, but really this will be covered in cards, so you're not really going to see a lot of this. But it's a bunch of columns. You start with your mission card here, you're progressing through different areas to get to your objective, complete the objective. And up here is going to be a bunch of enemies coming out to kill you, and then it's some placeholders for different card decks, and a little mission track timer, again with some setup instructions. So the board is more of a functional thing. In reality, you don't need it. You could play without it if you so chose and you were on the go, but it's nice to have for just keeping everything organized on the table. Here we have a very, very important piece of game equipment. This is a trifold card, and this is quite simply a rules reference. So the game is a card game, and each of the cards will have a series of keywords on them. These are the game effects. So you keep this handy, you'll refer to this for a while, but there comes a point in the game where you know what they all mean, and you don't need to keep that handy as well. But this is a really useful thing whilst you're learning the game as well. D10, let's see, a bit more dice in here? Yes, okay. So they give you 3 D10 and a D6. The D10 are basically your everything dice. You use a D6 only to defeat cover. If you defeat that cover, then your attack rolls go through and kill. If you don't defeat cover, you might just suppress your enemies. But you use the D10s for basically everything else you might need to roll for. So we have a series of counters here. This is the first counter sheet. And you can see here these are pre-rounded. These are enemy kills, some ammunition, and then some kind of equipment here. And you got some markers here for... Basically, you're going to play with X amount of soldiers, and you label each card, and then these are the ones you'll literally move counters around on that big board through terrain. And on the back, these are target markers. Remember, each of your soldiers has a number, so my guy is number 1, and Grant's guy is number 2. Well, if we're playing with 1 and 2, all of these 4 number 1 markers and all these 4 number 2 markers go into a cup, and you randomly draw those to decide which enemy's going to attack who, basically. There's some hardy markers. Those help you to survive in bad conditions. Oops. And we have some more suppression and EKA markers. All markers like fuses, rockets, rifle grenades. All just little chits that you'll use throughout the game depending on which weapons you choose. And we have some ABCD objective type markers, depending on what else you're doing there. Grenades, very useful. Action markers. Each player soldier has 2 actions, but other different cards will have different ones. And then again, more stuff. So you've got fuel, foxholes, more fuses, bipods for machine guns, things like that. These are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are close combat markers. If you're going to go and try and stab someone with a bayonet, you have to put one of those on them, just as a marker. Experience markers, wound markers, bandage markers if you have a medic on the team, which you will definitely need, and more of these action markers as well. The important stuff are the 5 decks of cards you get in the bottom here. We'll dig all of these out. This is just an insert, we don't need that. Nothing else hiding underneath it. So when we open it up, we'll take this out. Alright. Decks of cards. What we'll do is we'll start with the action deck, which is spread in these 3. We have equipment, more actions. Okay, so these are disorganized. They all have different backs on them, but it's not like, this is the action deck. They're kind of all spread out in between everything, so I don't know if we'll get to everything. We may well do. Okay. Action cards, location cards. And it says location Europe. Like the location jungle is for the Pacific ones, which also double up as the Korean War as well in certain parts. Objective cards Europe. Objective. Okay, and then we've got soldier cards. These all, if you look, these are all American soldiers, and these are U.S. Army. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll divvy these into some piles as we crack these open, then we'll take a look at them all in a bit more depth. These look like all their action cards. There's a lot of action cards. The action deck's pretty hefty in this one. Action cards, okay. This one's also got action cards in it, and it looks like it has some Germans in it too. Alright, action deck. So as you can see, this action deck's going to be pretty hefty by the time we're finished with it. Event cards. Frontline cards. Okay, these are German enemies. Frontline are kind of your starter ones that you should use if this is your first time playing. They also have, I don't know if they have them in here. These are all frontline. It's a pretty big deck. These are German hostiles. If you're playing as allies, you'll fight against this deck. There are German elite ones in here. They function similarly. They're usually just much harder to deal with. They've got more hit points, they do better attacks, they've got more potent effects, things like that. So there's a whole separate deck of those. And there's usually more of them as well. We have skill cards. These are literally skills and traits you'll get for your dudes. Equipment. And then we have some weapons. This is an any nation weapon. I can almost guarantee you this is a satchel charge. Yes, it is a satchel charge. And then we have in this one kind of the remnants of everything. Looks like there's some action cards and everything. We'll take a look at these here. Alright. So in this one we have some more equipment. And we have weapon cards. And these are all American weapons. And then more action cards. These are all action cards. Okay, so action deck is huge. And it's huge. This should be reminiscent of things like Combat Commander, or up front we have this huge deck. These are actions which are going to enhance what you can do. So normally you have a soldier and he has usually 2 actions. So you can move or shoot twice or move twice or do any number of other things. But what you'll also have for the player soldiers, they'll have like a hand of these cards. And these help you to take cover. You can pay an experience to trigger this effect and cancel an attack. Or Fubar. Play when a hostile card is placed in or moves into your location. Gain an extra action during the next soldier turn. So these are nice things that you can do to enhance what you're doing. Pay when you are paying an entrance cost. Add 3 to your movement value. That means it's much easier for you to move through difficult terrain. There's some like support ones. You play this and you can pay an experience to keep it out each turn, and it gives you a free attack during a step you normally couldn't. Free reload, free suppression marker. These are location markers. So you put these in the deck, and when you get this, discard this and draw a card from the location deck. Add the location to your hand. So that's how you kind of progress through the game. If you remember, it had all of those columns. Basically, you start at the mission card, and there's an objective card on the other side of the board. You fill the middle with locations. You get those locations out of a deck. And let's take a look at those locations. Let's see, where were they? What do I do with them? Here we go. The locations. So this is a pasture. So I'm on my mission card. I use that action card to draw one of these randomly. Boop. Okay. I got a cratered or a pasture. You can look, these are nice colored. Ruins, houses, marsh, steep slope. Let's get these in focus here for you. These are historical pictures. Road, crops, lane, woods, farm, ford, high ground, traffic hub, hedgerows, large warehouse, trenches, light woods, another crater there. So you're going to be putting these out, and there's an entrance cost to move into there. This tells you how many bad guys get pulled out of a deck. And there's a reinforcements value. More guys are going to show up. Things like that. So you'll be progressing through different terrain types to get to the objective. And when you get to the objective, let's look at the objective deck. That's these ones here. Alright, so there's about just, you might have to, well, these are missions. Sorry, I've got my missions and my objectives together. Let me divvy those up here. So, mission cards and objectives. So the mission's just another day, go house to house, hard slog, country stroll, raid, limited support, travel light, long way. So you're going to pick a mission, go through those locations, and then you're going to get to your objective, where you might have to clear a bunker. You might have to literally destroy a bunker, kill all the guys in it. Or you might have to observation post. You have to keep it clear for 3 turns, and it's always going to draw reinforcements. You have to kill everyone who pops up there. Supply dump. Destroy the supply dump. Explosion attacks only. For this mission, you've got to take one of those satchel charges, or make sure you've got a bunch of grenades, things like that. Tank hunting. Go and kill a tank. And you set up the mission before you build your squad. So you might have, a patrol, and you have to go and kill a tank at the end. Okay, well, that's great. When I pick my team, I might look for guys who are specialized in those kind of things. So I look at my little soldier cards. This guy's a marksman and a veteran. He's good with a rifle. Well, a rifle doesn't help me against tanks, so maybe I might look for a guy who has some good skills. So this guy has 2 grenades that come free with him. He's a non-player soldier. This guy's got an entrenching tool. Let's see, do I have anyone? Spotter, close combat. not very helpful there. Grenades. And that's where a lot of this game comes in, right? Is it's picking guys who are optimized to do what you need them to do. And there's a billion expansions of this game that give you a ton more cards and options to choose from. But that's what's nice about this game is you see your mission, you know your objective, and then there's this squad building aspect. And I think a lot of solo gamers enjoy that, putting it together and trying to execute your mission. That planning I really enjoy. I think that's fun time. Because you'll pick your guys, and then you will literally give them, alright, let's give them a rocket launcher, give them a flamethrower for clearing out that bunker, give them a machine gun or a pistol or a rifle grenade or an anti-tank grenade. All these different weapons, you have to pay a cost for them. But then you basically deck them out, and that's what you take on your mission. There's the equipment cards. These are a bit more functional. So you have an entrenching tool to dig foxholes that help protect you. First aid kit for healing wounds, smoke grenades, breaching charges, canteens, things like that. Canteens help you in hot weather if you get stuck out in the open. Soldiers, this was a satchel charge, we'll keep that here. The skill cards, oh, these are one of my favorite parts of this game. So this guy, he has Guts, Marksman, and Veteran. Those are inherent in him when you purchase him for 27 resources. So you pull out those cards from here, and those are abilities that he has. You see, he was a Marksman, a Veteran, and had Guts. Marksman, add 1 to your attack rolls, ranged attack rolls, okay? Guts, pay an experience to remove a suppression on the soldier. Really nice. And he's a Veteran. Can only be purchased for a player soldier with an RP cost of 20 or higher, or it comes with him for free. Gain 1 extra action each soldier turn, and start with 2 XP. So he's very, very good. He's very, very expensive, but very, very good. And so these are neat things that you can purchase for your team. Some of them have stipulations, some of them don't. But they enhance your actions and capabilities rather than the weapons is, you know, how much damage you do, things like that. Let's see, I think we went through most things. Alright, let's look at the bad guys here. So we have the frontline Germans. And these are kind of grey with the German flag on them. There's a bunch of expansions again for... The Pacific has Japanese in it. There's a ton of other expansions for different bad guys to play against. So we have German ambushers. You have a Panzer IV-H, stragglers, grenadiers, flamethrower, riflemen, officers, Sturmtruppen, snipers, machine gun nests, recruits, big old truck, and a SDK of a 2x1 little half track there, little Hanomag. So these guys are the guys that you're going to come out and be fighting up against. Once you're fairly familiar with the game, try your hand at the elite deck. These guys are much, much better. So if you look, alright, let's pull out the ambushes from the frontline deck. So here, what you're looking at, the big difference is that these guys, at their full strength, they miss on a 5 and they hit on a 6. These guys at full strength miss on a 2 and hit on a 3. So they're just very, very powerful. They're much stronger. Stragglers, grenadiers. Other than that, I think most of them are the same type. I don't think any new types. Reserves, was that new? Officers, Sturmtruppen, sniper team. So there's an extra sniper in there. Mortar team, that was new. There's a couple of extra ones, but really it's just the power ramps up a lot in those. So that's basically everything that's in this game. There's a big old stack of paper and cardboard to punch out, which is fun, and a bunch of cards. And once you play this is an entirely expandable game at your own leisure. There's as much out there as you... I think it has like 45 expansions or something ridiculous. And each expansion's like a deck of cards, so it's more men to fight with, more men to fight against, more equipment, a different nationality. There's British, Canadians, Polish, French, Russians, Japanese. There's Koreans and Chinese and NATO forces for the Korean War as separate expansions that you play with the Pacific. There's airborne troops. You can get 101st Airborne. You can get German Fallschirmjäger. You can get... literally, you can do everything with this game that you might want to do. But really, you're going to pick 3 or 4 guys and you deck them out with weapons and skills, and you progress through these missions, fighting guys that pop up, trying to get to your objective and complete whatever the objective is. It's a very fun game. It's just a gung-ho, beer and pretzels type war game. If you don't prepare well though, it's really easy to get totally hosed by missions, so don't get discouraged, just plan better next time. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is Warfighter World War II. This is the base game from DVG. This is the second edition that had those universal rules. A lot to look forward to in the future from this one as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.